we're going to ask this to all the guests, and it's funny because we have you, Matt, Michael, and Harrison, all kind of in different areas of life.
Yeah.
So in your work and experience right now, what do you see as the greatest challenges facing America and the opportunities for courage you see most with your work?
Just let's ease into it.
Yeah, right to the jugular. That's what we do.
He's a softball guy.
I got a softball one for you.
Yeah.
I'm from Long Lake, Minnesota.
Really?
Where'd you grow up?
Brainerd.
Brainerd, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So I grew up on Gull Lake.
Nice. Yeah, a bunch of my uncles went.
So St. George, right? St. George?
That's
in Long
right.
Lake?
Oh my gosh.
There's
Minnesota Catholics.
Yeah, there's a place called, Gear West.
Yes,
which is an incredible bike, ski kind of a store. And it's the place to go in Minnesota.
That's right. That's
right next to Lake.
I could
Long
bike
Lake.
there, but when I was a kid, but then I was a little overweight, so I would probably just get someone to drive me.
The Loose Line Trail.
Oh, I love that.
So I used to train on the Loose Line Trail during seminary all the time, and I'd roller ski out to Long Lake.
Yeah,
and
dude. All
that's
right.
awesome.
Sorry, roller ski?
Yeah, so you know how, so it looks like a ski, so it's like this long, but on either end looks like rollerblade wheels, like one on the end.
So you can train for cross-country skiing in the summer.
Wow, okay, that's cool.
And this was a off-road roller ski because the Loose Line Trail was just crushed limestone.
Yeah,
and it was awesome. It was the best. Oh my gosh, I should have studied a lot more than I did, but I trained a lot.
I don't know. I think you did all right.
Yeah, we're going to need the workout routine at the end of this. Okay? Many are clamoring.
Long Lake connection. I like that.
I love it.
My dad was the postmaster there. So
That's fantastic. So the biggest challenge that the whole church is facing in America, or just America is
in your
facing?
specific work, you work with college kids a lot in your ministry. You go all over the country. What have you observed?
I think there's always, I would say it's changing, but one of the things is indifference. And historically has been a certain sense of apathy where you have to convince people that to wake up in some ways. And I've seen that changing in a remarkable way. I've seen more and more people who are dissatisfied with the status quo and are asking bigger questions. But for a long, long time, that was one of the biggest obstacles to any invitation to faith was just indifference, apathy. I think Maximilian Kolbe, he had called it, in the 30s, he called it the poison of our times.
yes.
And then, there's so many things that.
So, but on that point, why do you think that's changed as of recent? You said you observed it.
I think that there comes a point where you've numbed yourself so long that you realize that there has to be more. That numbing has become painful. I think a lot of us experience when you work so hard, and it's like, okay, let me just scroll. I'm work so hard. Let me just binge on something, and it's like, okay, that's a break.
Yeah.
But when all your life is that, the numbing begins to hurt, and I think there's something in there that is. It's so painful. Again, imagine the pursuit of comfort and the pursuit of just distraction becomes so painful that there's got to be more.
They optimize you to, you like this, now watch this, now watch this, now watch this. Consume. That's why I think Pope Benedict's, you weren't made for comfort, you were made for greatness, speaks to
It resonates
us.
so well.
Resonate,
Yeah,
right.
it resonates profoundly. That's been the theme at the last decade of Sikh conferences. It's everywhere. And so it's because it resonates.
Yeah.
There's that sense. But yet you have so many people who are still in the midst of it, like still caught in the doom scrolling, still caught in that again.
But it's so addictive.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It's like the
everybody.
technology is geared for our brains to just latch onto it.
So interesting on that point. If people are just, numb and it's painful, they're looking to be injected with something.
Yeah.
And so I imagine the challenge now is make sure they're not injected by something that's going to be even worse or lead them down.
Yeah.
So you basically have to tailor your message to people that are looking for it, but to try to bring people in before, I guess, it goes other places. Is that how you kind of read it?
I think I like this. I think if it, in the sense of at various times, various people, various individuals, obviously, everyone's different. And so we're all looking for some of the same things, but we're looking in different ways. We have different questions and different pain points. And sometimes a problem is ignorance. I just don't know. And so, let me teach you. Let me take you from a place of not knowing to a place of knowing. I know that for myself, historically, that was my MO was like, let me just teach. If I can just teach you, then you'll know this. How many times did I think that I could just get these students on this retreat where they can hear this talk, or I get these students and listen to this thing, then they'll know, and then everything will be different. obviously we're have more layers than that as human beings. We're not just intellects. Because there is some people who just, but I always thought that for me, that was what it was. I didn't know, and then I knew, and everything's different. But sometimes it's not ignorance, sometimes it's indifference. It's not knowing, it's not caring.
Right.
And so if that's the case, then it's how do we engage in such a way that helps them see the futility of whatever it is they're pursuing. And even, I mean, we work with a lot of athletes. And so how do you get people to recognize, okay, this thing you dedicated your whole life to, that actually is paying for your college a lot of times. And it's
Right.
great. And you're,
Don't knock it too much.
and you're
right?
great at it.
Especially those hockey players.
Yeah, they're very, very good. But they even see it. When I talk to the juniors and seniors who are not hockey players, they are like, okay, this is coming to my last season. Well, this is my last, if we don't make playoffs, that's my last game.
Yeah.
And it's so good because by this point we've engaged enough
Right.
that, okay, there is something more. That's what you've been
next?
talking about. And no, it's funny because we had a guy, this maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and on campus, UMD won the national championship. It was double overtime.
It was awesome.
Incredible. The city went crazy, incredible. Kyle Schmitz is the name of the hockey player who got the winning goal. He was in our RCIA program at the time.
No,
And
that's
so
amazing.
the next day, I contact him like everyone else. And I'm like, Kyle, congratulations. That's so cool. I mean, this is the dream of every pond hockey kid. Like, here we are, national championships, double overtime, get the winning shot. And he's like, yeah, team effort, whatever. And and he said, you know what? But nothing is going to compare to the first time I get to receive Jesus in the Eucharist.
Wow.
Well said.
And then he graduated, played professionally for a few years. And we still, a lot of parishes locally still invite him to talk to their youth because they all still know Kyle Schmitz,
Wow, yeah.
And he always tells me, he says, right now in my life, that goal is not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
It's like, it's becoming Catholic, receiving the Eucharist, marrying my wife, my kids, it's remarkable. And so to see more and more of that, because again, let's get back to this. A lot of those athletes get to the place where it's really, really clear this can't go on because second I step off that court, that's done. So what else is there? Like what's next? What is there more? And that sometimes wakes them up, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're
wanna
made
push-
for more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wanted to
made for
push on that a little bit. So one of the trends that we're seeing with the new generation, with Gen Z, is that young men are converting or finding God or finding religion in the Catholic Church. We're seeing it in the UK, we're seeing it in France, the United States as well, and we're starting to see that divide between young men and women in terms of religiosity. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, do you see that just anecdotally where you are on the campus, and why do you think that is? So what is it in particular, to drill down on men in particular?
Because they're coming into it more than the women even. Which
Yeah.
Is,
So did they hit rock bottom first? Because in many ways you'd think of, okay, women have suffered a lot from the sexual revolution and all of that. But why is it that young men seem to be rediscovering religiosity before the women?
It's a good question. And I when you speak culturally,
Great.
I can get lost. If I speak anecdotally, I have a better sense. One of the things that seems to me is locally, I would say that there is a great desire and longing for brotherhood that is almost more easily remedied with guys than it is the women's desire for sisterhood. In that sense that when I've seen, again, this is just my personal experience, is when I see guys come together, even if there's conflicts, even if there's some differences, even if there's growth, like, okay, I'm ahead of you, but I want to help you get to where I am. There's that sense of, oh, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just how we're built differently. Sometimes those differences are seen more as comparisons. And I might be slower to trust, or some of the women I know are slower to trust the other women in their lives because of their history of reputation destruction and gossiping and some of those pieces. And so I wonder if there's still the same pain. The same pain is this desire for community, this desire for more. But one of the things I found is that a lot of the guys, they can more easily find it when it's there.
Wow.
They are more easily trust it when it's there, because I think too many girls have been burned when they thought, well, I found my best friend. And then it's just like, I mean, I think you probably could ask almost
women
any
are the worst.
young woman.
No, I
And I don't mean that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that their history is one of just so much,
Yeah.
so often being offered something and then being left.
Betrayed. Yeah.
Betrayed. And
Interesting.
so I wonder if that opens the young men for some. I mean, also there's a piece where I just think that there is a more robust Christianity that is being proclaimed
And offered, right?
and offered. No, on our campus, it's one of those points of pride that I kind of keep hidden a little bit. We've always had a lot of, nationally speaking, just relative guys and girls involvement. We've always had more guys involved than women.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
Not in an inordinate way. It's more like close to 50-50 or maybe 51-49.
You think it'd be 70-30 the other way, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like
And
in
so-
most parishes, it's
Right.
probably
Right.
70, 30.
And so that's one of the things where I was like, okay, what is it we're doing? Like, it's not as if we have any kind of corner on any kind of masculine market. I think it's just the sense of you have normal men pursuing Jesus with their whole heart. And that's something that's very, very attractive. I was at the U of M, Minnesota, a couple weeks ago, and there we have a kind of a motto on campus, and we're at our Newman Center, and it's seen, known, loved. That kind of sense of like, just because that's the desire, and the desire of a lot of everyone to be seen, to be known, to be loved. And at the U of M, Minnesota, Twin Cities, theirs was something like be known, then it was be challenged. I was like, I like that one.
Yeah.
I want to change
Take
ours.
that one.
I want to change ours. It was like be seen,
Go
be
you, man.
challenged, be whatever, be great or something. I was like, dang, nabbit, like, that's one because but they both resonate. But we were talking as a presbyterate about we're doing this kind of shifting. Our bishop has this vision for shifting the way we reach out to people, and one of the things that he did is had all these listening sessions. I think that actually were fruitful. They don't always have to be fruitful. Or they're not always fruitful. This one was. These hundreds of people he spoke with, and to listen to the pain points. What are they really struggling with? Where do they need healing? Where do they need hope? Where's their lack of joy? And we were trying to propose how are we going to respond as a diocese, as parishes, local communities, and it was all this support. And one of our priests, he had said, well, this is all great, but kind of like the U of M said, well, where are we challenging them?
Yes.
And I was like, yes, oh my gosh,
yeah.
Father, why did we miss this? Because that is, no one just wants to be sold to and taken care of.
That's
You
such
want to
a
be
masculine.
engaged.
Masculine,
Yeah,
too. I
that's
was just thinking
masculine.
that
Yeah,
feels so
like
man.
the guys, they want to be
Yes.
challenged. Want to be challenged.
Well, hey, we have an American Pope now. What is that going to do for the church in the United States? What do you think about that? I mean, especially as we're going to be walking into our 250th anniversary as a country too. So
I heard someone say this. They said, I pray that what John Paul II did for Poland, Pope Leo XIV can do for the United States of America.
that'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, chills on that one.
Yeah.
That would be.
Also, I'm trying to make Leoxiv his name.
Yeah.
Leo XIV. I want Leoxiv to happen.
That would be big among the 12-year-old boys. I
Pope
think my
Leoxiv.
son would love that. Leoxiv.
Yes, and
yeah.
me.
Well, and you. And yeah.
Pope Leoxiv.
So,
We're gonna try to make it
Father
happen.
Mike, I've wanted to ask this for a long time. I know we're pushing time here. What are the funniest recommendations you've gotten for in a year?
Oh, Summa in the air.
So
Isn't that just for hilarious?
That's a hefty. That'd be a
It's
heavy
not very
lift.
funny.
Heavy lift.
Saints in a year, Vatican Council, Second Vatican Council documents in a year, which I think everyone will
won't be
be riveted.
controversial. That would
Yeah,
be
that would not
I'll
be.
go over it.
You know, when you study them, though,
I
you know
know,
this.
I
You know
know.
this. What were some others? Okay, saints, obviously, as I said. People like, the writings of Saint Teresa of Avila in a year.
Get real niche.
Saint John of the Cross, yeah. And so
How about like drinking with the saints in a year?
Saint Bridget of Sweden has some great quotes.
There you go.
She says, what was her? I think it was Bridget of Sweden or of Ireland. It makes more sense if it's Ireland. But she says, I imagine in heaven there to be a great lake of beer. And then we gather
did not
around
know this.
with our Savior and the saints and enjoy a glass of beer. Something like this.
I think
love
you've
it
got a
already.
winner there.
Yeah, I think that's
a, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to your Ascension Press. Get that.
Midwest
great idea.
Do you have any
approval there.
suggestions for in here?
Yeah. I mean, we were
It's
like,
funny. We're going to do a Shark Tank pitch. And I was like, I feel like these aren't actually original or new. So I was like, I feel like everyone has to come up to you. And the first thing they say is, you got to do this in a year.
Or they say, what's next?
Well, what's next? Yeah. Do-
Well, we're doing a couple things. One of the things we're doing is imitation of Christ.
Oh, that would be
beautiful.
So it's not going to take a
Yes.
year, but to be able to have like the read through the entire thing with commentary.
That's intense,
I'm really
too.
excited. Yeah, I remember reading it in high school, and I'm like, okay, this is it. Let's go. That's a masculine,
Yeah,
or
for
not
sure.
masculine, but it's an engaging and challenging way to follow the Lord. It's just he's very clear about, as you deny yourself, you pick up your cross, you follow after Jesus in very practical ways. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to revisit it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Father.
Yeah.
Thank you, Father.
Thanks so much.
It was
Thanks.
so nice to
Really
meet
appreciate
you.
your
Thank
work.
you for having me,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
I really
God bless
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hear Kirk Cameron wants to arm wrestle you. So if you want to go take care of that, it's up to you.
God bless you, Father.
Awesome. Thank you, Father.